Hey, welcome everybody to this week's Client Attraction Clinic, the place where we challenge conventional thinking, cut through all the noise, and have real conversations about business, money, marketing, and what it actually takes to build a business with impact. If you're tired of surface level advice, recycled talking points, and the same worn out scripts that everybody else is repeating, you're in the right place. My goal here is simple: to help you think more clearly, make better decisions, and see opportunities other people miss so that you can begin to attract clients instead of chasing them down. So, whether you're here to grow your business, strengthen your financial future, or just start asking better questions, I'm glad you're here. With that, let's get into it. Today, we're going to talk about why serious agents eventually become focused on listings. And I want to say this up front because I don't want anybody to misunderstand me. I'm not saying buyer clients don't matter, they do. And I'm not saying buyers are bad. They're not. I'm not saying you should stop serving people who need your help buying a home. What I am saying is that if your goal is to build a bigger, more leveraged, more predictable real estate business, listings have to become a major part of the model. Listings are the center of scale. And if you look at the agents who have the strongest visibility, the strongest brands, and usually the best income, most of them are listing focused. Why? Because a listing is more than just one transaction. A listing is a business asset. When you take a buyer from first showing to closing, you have one client. And again, that client matters, but when you take a listing, that listing can create visibility across the entire market. It can create buyer leads, more seller conversations, open house traffic, neighborhood authority, social media content, direct mail opportunities, proof of results, and referral conversations. That's leverage. And leverage is what most agents are missing. See, the average agent thinks in transactions. The business-minded agent thinks in assets. So when the average agent gets a listing, they think, great, I hope I sell it. When a strategic agent gets a listing, they think, great, how do I use that listing to create more relationships, more conversations, more opportunities, and more future business? That one shift can change everything for you. Now, let's talk about the time side of this because that's important. Working with buyers can take a lot of time. There are consultations, searches, showings, schedule changes, offer writing, negotiations, inspections, appraisals, financial delays, and sometimes weeks or even months of working before anything closes. That's just part of the buyer business. A listing also requires skill and work, but the process can be more systemized. Once the listing process is built, many of the tasks can be delegated, automated, or handled by support teams. The listing appointment is the high value work. Pricing strategy is the high value work. Negotiation, the high value work. Seller communication, the high value work. But many of the administrative, marketing, and operational tasks around listings can be systemized. Now, that means listings can produce more income per hour when the model is built correctly. Now, again, this doesn't mean every listing is easy, doesn't mean every seller is easy to deal with, and it doesn't mean every market is easy. But as a business model, listings are what creates leverage. They also create market share, which is critical. Think about it this way. When your signs are in yards, your listings are online, your open houses are promoted, your sold results are visible, and your marketing is going out to neighborhoods, people start associating you with that activity. They see you as an agent who has listings, and that matters because consumers often assume the agent with listings is the agent who knows the market, has the buyers, creates activities, and gets results. Whether that's always fair or not, that's just how the perception often works. Visibility creates authority. Listings also create proof. It's one thing to say, I can sell your home, and it's a completely different thing to show what you just did for another seller. You can show the marketing, the traffic, the offers, the results, the timeline, the seller experience, and even the neighborhood response. That's proof, and proof is much more powerful than promises in a listing presentation. So, why do so many agents stay buyer heavy? That's always a great question, right? Usually, it's not because they made a strategic business decision, it's because buyers feel more accessible. A buyer lead feels easier to engage. Showing homes feels less intimidating than asking someone to sign a listing agreement. And many agents just don't have a listing presentation, a listing process, or a strong seller value proposition for their business. So they simply default to buyers. And again, there's nothing wrong with working with buyers. But if you're working with buyers because you don't feel prepared to win listings, that's not a strategy. That's avoidance. The good news is you can build the bridge. You don't have to wake up tomorrow and stop working with buyers. That's not realistic for most agents. You need income, you need closings, you need to serve the clients that you have. But you can begin shifting the business. Start by building your listing process. What happens from first contact to appointment? What happens during the listing presentation? What happens after the agreement is signed? How do you launch the listing? How do you create buyer competition? How do you follow up with neighbors? How do you capture open house traffic? How do you turn one listing into more business? Then you build your listing message. Why should a seller hire you? What do you do that's different? What problem do you solve that other agents don't? What result do you help create that other agents don't? And what proof do you have? Then start to build your seller lead sources, your database, open houses, direct mail, past clients, neighborhoods, referral partners, niche seller groups, online content, and listing focused ads can all feed the listing side of your business. Once you start thinking this way, your listings become more than closings. They become campaigns. And that's why listings are so powerful. They help you build visibility. They help you build authority. They help you build market share. They help you generate more conversations, and they give you the chance to create more business from the work that you're already doing. So here's your action step for this week. Look at your business over the last 12 months. How many of your closings came from a buyer? How many came from sellers? How many hours did each type of transaction really require? And how much additional business came from each listing you took? Then set a listing goal, not a fantasy goal, a realistic goal. If you're taking 0 listings a month, your first goal may be 1 listing a month. If you're taking 1, maybe the goal's 2. If you're taking 2, maybe the goal's 4. The goal is progress because you don't have to become listing centered overnight. But if you want to build a business with leverage, you do need to start moving in that direction. Now, before I let you go, here's the question I want you to sit with this week. Is your business actually running, or are you running around trying to hold the whole thing together? Because if every lead, every follow-up, every post, every video, every review request, every database touch, and every appointment depends on you remembering to do it, that is not a business. That is a job with your name on the door. That's exactly why I've written another book that listeners can download for free. The title of the book is Your Real Estate Business Doesn't Need More Tools, It Needs a Boss. Download it, and you'll see how experienced agents can build a daily operating system around seller leads, follow-up, appointments, reviews, referrals, and closings. Now, you can grab it at www.theaibossblueprint.com. That's at www.theaibossblueprint.com. And after you download it, schedule your private business review right from the homepage. So, this week, go build the machine, and I'll talk to you next week.